welcome back everybody. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about extension methods and why we might use them. An example, in JavaScript there's no string.format function, so I decided to create basically an extension method in JavaScript that allows you to format a string and it returns that. So for example, this is string.format that's available for use in C# but not in JavaScript. So that's a case that I used an extension method. Basically what extension methods do is they take an existing type and they add methods to that type so that that type can use those methods. You might think, oh, well, why don't you just create another class that inherits that type? Well, you know, I mean, it's debatable. Sometimes you might want to do it that way, or sometimes you might just want to write an extension method that acts on all things of that type. So instead of creating another string class, you could call it directly on the current string class. So today we're going to write an extension method for a string class. So if we look at string, let's take a peek at what string can do. Let me move the screen down a little bit. Okay, so basically string has a whole bunch of methods that you can run on it, tons of different methods. But say that it doesn't have one, doesn't look like it has a word count. So there's no method that tells us how many words are in the particular string. So what we're going to do today is we're going to create a word count that we can add to string, and it'll be accessible for all of our strings. So what we're going to do, move my screen back here, we're going to create a new class. Methods, and it's inside of the same namespace, but you know what, let's actually put it in a different namespace so I can show you that using statement. Okay, so we have our class extension methods. We're going to make those public, of course, so we can see them in other places. The way that you do an extension method is you basically, it's going to be a static method, and then we just basically write out the method as normal with one small minor change that's really important, that basically turns it from a regular method into an extension method. There's one small little keyword, actually a couple different keywords that we have to put in there. So we were going to return string. Actually, we're going to return integer because we want to know the word count, right? So we're going to call it word count. And right here is where we put in our extra keywords. We use this, so referring to the current object that this is being acted upon. That this method is, basically you're going to run this method inside of that object so that object will, this is what that's referring to, the current object. And then we tell it what type of object that we're going to run it on. As we notice, it pulls up all of these different types. This symbol right here is built-in types. So you notice S by short, single, we've got a whole bunch of things here. So string, and let's just name it string because we have to give it a variable name for our local. Our local method has to have a variable name that we're going to return to, or that we're going to refer to. So what we're going to do is, let's just create an int I, and have that equal to string split. Let's split on the spaces. Just make this super simple. We don't want to get too carried away here. And there is a string split options, that's what it is. We're going to remove empty entries. Probably won't have any, but just in case we do. Okay. Actually, it wants me to pass in a character array. Okay. So, and then after we split, that's going to return an array. And we just want to get the count of that array. That's what we're interested in. And then we're going to return that count. So we're going to return I. So basically, the string is coming in. We're doing a split on all of the spaces, separating the words. Obviously, this isn't robust. This is just kind of an example of an extension method. We're going to remove empty entries. We're going to get a count on that array because the split returns, as you can see right here. I can't really mouse over it, but the very first thing you see right there, the return type is a string array. So the count is going to be acting on that string array. Count just returns an int, as you can see right there, int, int. And also it points out that it's going to be, this is an extension of, so actually count is an extension of IEnumerable, which is kind of cool. Basically, we're using an extension method, and we're also creating one right here. Okay, so let's see if this worked out for us. Let's go back over here to class, and we have to use, since it's in a different namespace, like I was saying before, this is in the namespace extensions. So let's just create this one. And as we start typing, we can see, oh, lo and behold, there is our namespace extensions, boom. So if we don't have this, let's just put it up here so I don't have to go too far. Let's say let's say we have a property here for the length of the name, and that we're gonna actually set the length of the name. Okay, so name length is equal to the name dot, and so basically name is a string, so the extension method that we wrote acted upon strings. So any string that we've got that has access to that extension method, that basically can see that namespace, is going to have that extension method available to it, which is really cool, because then it allows us to basically use it for any string that we have, and name is a string. So as we come down here, notice that we do not have word count. Word count would be in here because these are by alphabetical order. So word count does not exist because we are not seeing that namespace. This is a different namespace. This is lessons. This is extensions. So we undo that, and we should get word count here. One second. I think I've got something messed up here. Okay, so we have to make that class static. So that's important. The class has to be static. So does the actual methods in that class. They're all static. Okay, so word count. And that should be it right there. So this is going to return the length of whatever. This is going to return all the words contained in that string. And we can use this wherever in our code, any place where we use strings, now we have access to this word count. So we can even come down here and take a look at this. So string s is equal to test this out. This is getting a little bit cluttered here. We're going to return the word count on this thing. So we should get 3 right here. There should be 3. Let me test this. Okay, so if I move this down here, we still have the previous examples text in here, but we're getting the number 3, and that's this word count right here. So that's how you use extension methods. Very useful.